Warning. This video contains super awesome content not suitable for people who don't enjoy super awesomeness. Viewer discretion advised.
Welcome to Viewer's Choice. Your selection is about to begin. But first, take a look at what else you can see this week.
Hey, dudes, inviting you to travel through time. First stop, a long layover at the video store.
Bogus.
Wait, you've got Viewer's Choice.
Excellent.
Hello, you rotten little bloodsuckers.
America's most popular now. Get extra value. $12.50 cash back.
Rise and shine, Mr. Freeman. Rise and shine.
I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. What? Say what again?
Let's get out of here! Like now!
When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these? Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day and thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons.
This is my ship, the Nebuchadnezzar. This is the core. We broadcast our pirate signal back into the Matrix.
Welcome to the Nebuchadnezzar with your host, Ernesto Morado, the double-headed boy, and your co-host, Pablo Morado, the Thunderbolt. Together, we are the Pyramid Podcast.
Welcome, folks, to the Pyramid Podcast. We've been out for a while.
The right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.
I love that.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're coming in loud and clear.
Perfect. Welcome to episode 14. Can we finally, what am I trying to say? I deserve a pow.
You deserve a pow pow.
Oh man, I fell into that. Well, we thank everybody for joining us. We've been dealing and fighting with Mike Echo. I'm still hearing a little bit of an echo now. Can you double check your mic sensitivity?
Let me see. All right, speak.
Okay, testing. Okay, look, it's a lot better now. Okay. So, with that being said, first things, I need to get myself the pow here. How you been otherwise?
I've been good. I've been dying to get on the podcast, but we've been having a little bit of technical difficulties. You know, our studio grows little by little.
Yes.
And we're just, we're tweaking every day.
Absolutely. So here's my well-deserved
Pow! 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 Pow!
I bite into that one, that intro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised Lucy didn't come out.
So to start us off here, I have a bunch of different topics here, but I wanted to first pull up one topic.
But before we go into this, into the topics, we haven't been on since the Queen died. And
that's definitely something I want to talk about for sure.
Yeah, I mean, this supposedly it came suddenly. But you know us, we always have a spin on things.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we're going to dive in deep into this, but could it be she was dead way before they announced that she was dead? And was the powers that be restructuring the oligarchs into new positions now that we have what do people call it? The Antichrist.
The Antichrist.
King Charles.
Yeah. Now that we have King Charles as a new active king, I have a lot of topics going on to that. For sure, we're going to touch on that. But I want to start us off with a little bit with something interesting, not as politic heavy. But I think people should know this. So I just found out that Skittles apparently is being categorized as not food anymore.
Well, that's accurate.
Like it's not edible food anymore. Like it shouldn't be consumed. Apparently.
Oh, that I didn't know.
Yeah. So,
but I mean, every time I've had a Skittle, it's like eating plastic.
Well, check this out. It says there's a Skittles lawsuit that raises questions over titanium dioxide, a legal food additive. It says here a California man who claims Skittles candy contains a known toxin that makes it unfit for human consumption is suing the manufacturer Mars. This is from NPR. It says here the ingredient titanium dioxide is just one of thousands of legal food additives in the U.S. In his lawsuit, Janelle Tane, I guess that's how you pronounce his last name, says Mars failed to warn consumers about the potential dangers of the ingredient, which is used as a color additive in Skittle. According to the Center for Food Safety, Mars said in 2016 that it would phase out the titanium dioxide product in the next 5 years. Safety is paramount importance to Mars. Wrigley dioxide is a common colorant widely used across many industries and in every everyday product, including many. So apparently titanium dioxide is like poison is in a lot of.
Well, unbeknownst to a lot of people, there's a lot of strange things in our foods.
Oh yeah,
have you heard of beaver goo?
What?
Beaver, like in the beavers that make dams?
Goo. No.
There's a thing called beaver goo.
Beaver goo. Okay, I gotta look this up now.
That it's actually consumable and people and it's a food additive.
Beaver butts emit goo used in vanilla flavored foods. Oh my god. Hold on. No, beaver butts.
No, that's but disgusting. The goo.
Okay, it says here. Beaver butts emit goo used in vanilla flavored foods. It says next time you pick up vanilla candy, think twice. A chemical compound used in vanilla flavored foods and scents comes from the butt of a beaver. Castoreum comes from a beaver's castor sacs located between the pelvis and the base of the tail. Due to proximity to the anal glands, the slimy brown substance is often mixed with gland secretion and urine. I lift the animal tail, Joanne Crawford, a wildlife psychologist at Southern Illinois University told National Geographic. I'm like, get down there and stick your nose near its problem. People think I'm nuts, he added. I tell them, it's beaver. It smells really good. Beavers use the brown slime, often compared to the thinner version of molasses, to mark their territory. Oh my God. The musky vanilla scent contributes to a beaver's diet of bark leaves. Manufacturers have been using this castorium as an additive in foods and perfume for at least 80 years. According to a 2007 study in the International Journal of Toxicology. My God. But getting a beaver to castorium is not easy. Foodies are willing to milk. Oh my God. The animals in order to get their hands on the food substance from their butt. That's disgusting.
So we're eating when we eat certain foods, we're eating beaver goo.
Beaver goo. That is insane. Beaver.
You didn't know that one, did you?
I did not know that. My God. Oh my.
So titanium dioxide sounds delicious when you hear beaver goo.
Yeah, so let's see what titanium dioxide says. What is titanium dioxide? Titanium dioxide is a white powdery mineral used in a variety of everyday products, including sunscreen, cosmetics, plastics, toothpaste, and paint. In food, titanium dioxide can appear in anything from candy and sauces, pastries, chocolates, chewing gum, and other sweets as a color additive. Titanium dioxide has been used for decades to whiten certain foods, though it has many other features. What makes it harmful? It says the European Food Safety Authority report in 2021 declared that titanium dioxide is no longer considered safe as a food additive. The ATC not ruled out the genotoxicity damage to the DNA from consumption of titanium dioxide particles, and they could accumulate in the body. Although absorption was low, the European Commission decided in February to ban the use of titanium dioxide as a food additive. The ban will take full effect in August. So yeah, it's like titanium dioxide damages your DNA.
And there are people that love Skittles. They love Skittles.
It says it right here that it's not just Skittles. It's in a lot of things.
I wonder if it's in Mentos.
Well, it says to whiten foods, but it says here what? Let's see. It's in anything from candy, sauces, pastries, chocolates, chewing gum, and other sweets. So sweet stuff. Anything sweet.
Because on the very few times I've had Mentos, that's a candy that it feels like you're eating plastic.
Yeah, I mean that's just like the same consistency of Skittle. Very similar. Yeah, so I just want.
So we got titanium dioxide. Then you have that red color in M&Ms.
Right. Yeah, and then what else is red colored? There's
and
a lot
you
of.
have beaver goo. That milky, delicious substance secreted by the anus or the glands by the anus.
So what would you rather have? Beaver goo or the Chinese? What they have is gutter oil.
Okay, for our listeners,
I'll find gutter oil for you guys.
If you guys are not aware of what gutter oil is, you're about to be horrified. Absolutely horrified.
Who can consume this disgusting nonsense?
So, to those who are, checking their bucket list, and they're like, "Oh, I'm dying to go to China. I would like to see the Great Wall. I want to see Beijing. I want to see Shanghai." Be aware that major hotels, now listen to me, major hotels
Yes.
use gutter oil.
Yeah, it's disgusting. I have
Now
this
let me
report.
explain to you what gutter oil is before even the video comes up, because audio. Us as podcasters, we gotta do cinema of the mind.
Right.
You understand? So I'm gonna paint a picture for you. You take a nasty looking bucket and you lower it into your sewer system.
Well, first you got to find the most putrid sewer system.
Yeah, the more putrid, the more disgusting the sewer system, the better the gutter oil.
And then you stick like an apparatus, like a strainer.
No, but hold on, you're skipping steps. You take some kind of stick, right? And you tie a rope on the stick, right? A long length of rope. This is crucial. Unless you have a winch, then you could really get some good gutter oil. But you tie a rope around a stick and and then one end is on the stick and the other is on the handle of the bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Then you lower the bucket into the sewer. And when you hit pay dirt, which is the scum, that goo, that disgusting sludge that's in the sewer, you try to pick up a nice load of that, and then you wench it up from the hole. And what's in there, it's going to be like sewer sludge. Then you take like a strainer, you strain all the disgustingness, which is like sticks, feces, whatever it is in that goo.
Right.
You strain it. Then you boil it. Now, get this. You boil it with animal parts.
Right, with like lard and all that stuff.
No, I saw a video that just said animal parts, which means it could be rats, whatever animal secretes oil. You take this goo and you boil it in tandem, together in a big cauldron. And the thing that floats to the top, you strain it.
Delicious.
And you use it as oil, thus cooking oil, and thus you get gutter oil, which is a thriving business in China. A lot of people have gone into their own business. The stench can be smelled for miles where they're boiling these things. And then you see them, and this is the amazing part. Then they take this gutter oil, they put it in a wok, throw some chilies, some peppers, some onions.
They make it look good.
Some peppers, some oil, some onions. Then they throw a little bit of soy sauce in there.
I saw one that they took this sludge oil and they were making noodles out of it, like ramen noodles.
Oh my god. So you take this oil, you put it in the wok, you throw some chilies, some peppers, whatever vegetable they have on hand. Lord knows where they get those vegetables, because if they're using gutter oil.
Say what you want about our hillbillies, but they're not going to do that.
So then they take a protein, whatever that may be, because they eat dog and rats, all kinds of goodness, and they wok it up. And when they serve it, it looks absolutely delicious.
Well, let's look at the video here, and we'll go through it. All right, so let's poisoned at the source.
There it is, folks. They're like witches. Cooking up a witch's brew.
It's all in a day's work for this woman. She opens up a manhole cover and scoops out as much slop as she can, delighted by what she finds. What others might view as revolting, she sees as a bonanza. She works in the streets of the southern Chinese
And here's her
city,
partner.
a foot soldier in China's so-called gutter oil industry.
Look at that. Even the sound is disgusting. Look
She
at that's the
said-
enterprise right there.
A house for her family.
This is the
back
corporation.
1,000 miles to the north.
A minivan filled with
That
check
slop
this
eventually
slop out.
winds up in a processing plant like this one, where it's combined with other animal fat refuse to create recycled cooking oil. Workers put the oil in barrels for delivery to restaurants and hotels.
There you go.
How can you eat this? If you eat it, it can kill you.
Cooking oil has long been a cherished commodity in China, where stir-frying in a wok is the mainstay of daily meal preparation. The high profit margins from gutter oil production have proven irresistible. Chinese experts estimate that 1/10 of China's cooking oil is gutter
Pause it.
oil, which has been found to
She just handed him a sample. Poor bastard. No wonder Anthony Bourdain killed himself. He found out he was eating gutter oil all along. That gutter oil fucked him up. Continue.
contain carcinogens and other toxins harmful to humans. Most of it winds up in hole-in-the-wall restaurants and among street food vendors. Illegal production sites are often discovered after people living nearby notice a nauseating stench and alert the authorities. Police have arrested scores of people across the country in recent years for engaging in the trade and seized thousands of tons of the material. The Chinese government enacted a tough food safety law in 2009 that included harsh penalties for producers of tainted products. But many consumers doubt that China's dinner tables can be completely free of.
You think McDonald's uses gutter oil? In China.
There's a possibility. McGutter oil. McGutter oil.
I mean, they use oil to fry everything.
Can you imagine how the fries taste in China?
Oh, gross.
Look, we human beings tend to love the flavor of disgusting things. As long as we don't know what it is.
That's true. And then we find out what the hell killed us.
Gutter oil.
All we can do is accept it. In our current society, everybody tries to swindle everybody else. There's nothing we can do about it.
That's the commentary. All we can do is accept it.
Fuck it. We're hungry.
Everybody's trying
There's an old guy that a friend of mine used to know. He used to say, if they're hungry, they eat. And if they eat, they pay. So hunger can do a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's sad that, these people have to resort to doing that kind of thing to make money and to sustain themselves. But yes, gutter oil exists. And that is just, a microcosm of the stuff that happens around the world. We're just skimming the surface. Right here in the United States, if they're giving us titanium dioxide,
The one book you must read.
If they're giving us titanium dioxide and red color, whatever, that gives us cancer, look at New York. Look what's going on in New York. They're finding polio in the drinking water. And it's bad. Look it up. They're holding what do you call it? A state of emergency in New York. Yes, look it up. There's polio in the water. And there's already, I think, like 2 documented cases. And polio is highly, highly contagious.
Recently, they just declared state of emergency. Thank God we don't live in New York.
Yeah, but we got family out there. Thank God, like my parents, they like to filter and triple filter their water, but I think I'm gonna call my mom and tell her just buy bottled water for now. But even then, you take a shower and you brush your teeth. What, are you gonna brush your teeth with bottled water?
So it says here, New York Governor Kathy Hochul on Friday declared state of emergency over the polio to boost vaccination rates in the state amid further evidence that the virus is spreading in communities. This got me thinking, is it really that there's polio in the water, or are they telling us that there's polio so we can get a vaccine? It says,
well, that's another spin. But the fact that they're saying that polio has been in the United States has been extinct for a while. And now you're getting people infected with polio.
Well, look at the homeless in New York. It's not a great place, and that's where they hang out, in the subways and near the sewers.
But how did it get into the drinking water?
Well, it says here, polio virus has now been detected in sewage samples from 4 counties in the New York metro area, as well as in the city itself. The counties are Rockland, Orange, Sullivan, and the latest, Nassau. Oh my God. I have family out in Nassau. The samples tested positive for polio virus that can cause paralysis in humans. According to the state health officials, unvaccinated individuals who live, work, go to school, or visit Orange, Rockland, Nassau, or New York City, and Sullivan are at the highest risk of the paralytic disease. It says New York began wastewater surveillance after an unvaccinated adult caught polio in Rockland County in July and suffered from paralysis, the first known infection in the U.S. in nearly a decade. The emergency declaration will expand the network of vaccine administrators to include pharmacists, midwives, EMS workers, in an effort to boost the immunization rate in areas where it has slipped. Yeah, so God, it says here on polio we cannot roll the dice. I urge New Yorkers to not accept any risk at all. Polio immunization is safe and effective, protecting nearly all people against the disease who receive the recommended doses.
So imagine that.
So I don't know. I mean, if you go with the Alex Jones mentality, Alex Jones is always thinking that whatever the media is trying to tell you, it's being told for a purpose. They're trying to spin, because the media is controlled by the pharmaceutical companies and all these powers that be. So why would they tell us polio is now in the sewers of New York if it isn't to just get us all scared about something?
Now, another question that I have is this normal to test the water for all these viruses.
I don't know about the viruses, but it must be somewhat normal. I would assume because
In particularly polio. Like,
I don't know. Why would they be testing for polio? But they must be testing for diseases, I guess. It must be common that they do that because they don't want to.
well, it makes sense. I just never heard that. Because for a lot of times when I was living in New York, there was Legionnaires scared in the water. But New York has those tanks above the above the roofs. Yeah, so a lot of times they found Legionnaires, the virus for that in that water. But polio, that's scary. So going back to our original topic, we don't know what we're eating. This is why my parents, growing up,
That sound means that that we are now entering our first break. So just hold that thought real quick.
Yes, sir.
We'll bring in somebody, a special guest here.
Our little friend Guandolito. Oh, what happened with Guandulo?
Hey guys, thank you for joining the Paranormal Experience podcast. I hope you guys had fun. I hope you guys got educated. And I hope you guys tune in again. But you know what? These guys work hard. And by hitting that donation button can help them continue to provide good content and future podcasts.
Ah, you didn't let him finish.
Hold on. Let's see. We could finish off here.
Accepted and appreciated. And again, please tune in every Monday. And remember, if the universe is infinite, then so are the possibilities.
Thank you, Guandulo. That's Guandulito, our little alien friend. He wants to promote our website. It's thepyramidshop.com. There you can donate to our podcast so that we can continue to provide content.
We're streaming live right from thepyramidshop.com. We have some music here, and here you can donate right to the cast. You just click this donate button.
And if you have a favorite number, like your number is 2, imagine this. What great luck you might have if you donate $2.22.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter big or small. So we appreciate all the donations, and we appreciate you. We're also on Substack. So if you subscribe to our Substack, you'll see all of our podcasts. We're on episode 14, and we appreciate you.
And remember, another thing with the donation, not only do you donate, but you up your game because now you're not a bobolongo no more.
That's right.
And you do not want to be a bobolongo.
Absolutely
Google it.
Google it. Just Google it.
But it ups you up to being a verdugo, a badass. You want to be a verdugo because that means you're awake and you're not swallowing everything that the leftist media or media in general. Because it's not leftist, it's left and right spins on everything.
Exactly.
They lie to us from both sides of the fence.
Absolutely. So now this begins. Well, so let's finish your thought. What were you thinking about?
Okay, what I was saying was that when I was growing up as a kid, my parents were big proponents of not going out to eat. You know, from the time that I remember, which I can remember as far back as 3 years old, to the time of me being in deep in my teens, because I left home at 19 years old. And from the time I remember to 19 years old, we might have went out 5 times to a restaurant. And it's because my mom, and especially my dad, do not go out to eat. And my dad is a chef. You know, that's how he makes a living. But he sees what goes on in the kitchen. And he's like, I'm not exposing my family to that. And my mother's even worse. My mother doesn't trust anyone. She only eats from her hand. So it's why they're still around, you know, and they're healthy and they're thriving, thank God. But eating out, as fun as it may be, you take a risk.
Yeah, for sure.
You take a huge risk on going out. Trust me. One time I went to Wendy's as a teenager, and all I'm going to say is Mount St. Helen.
Oh, my God.
Mount St. Helen has nothing. I erupted like fucking Pompeii.
Oh, my God.
And I was in a cab. And the cab is like driving and his eyes are like moving around and his nostrils are flaring. And I'm like, just get me home, get me home.
God.
And I got food poisoning out of Wendy's.
Oof.
And as you can see, Wendy's is in trouble right now.
Oh, is it?
There's like, they're having problems all throughout the country.
Really?
Type it in, Wendy's food poisoning. I think their romaine lettuce has problems. They have a myriad of problems in Wendy's.
E. coli, yeah. Yeah, so it says here.
And I'm on the road because, you know, I'm a driver. This is how I support my family. And I'm on the road. And sometimes I rather go hungry because you eat at a fast food place. My God, you better have that map ready.
Yeah. Yeah, so it says here, E. coli outbreak grows. 6 Wendy customers describe severe food poisoning. It says Yvonne Colbert ordered her usual on her weekly trip to Wendy's with her son, a kid's meal with a plain cheeseburger for him, and a Dave single burger topped with lettuce and tomato for herself. What was followed was 24 hours of vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, followed by 12 days in the hospital being treated for
Pause it right there. You got to learn how to read and listen with the third ear. The first exactly. Exactly. Her weekly trips to Wendy's.
Yeah. That's not good. Not good.
That's not good. If this is how you is nutrifying a word?
Nourishing.
Okay. I like nutrifying. That shit sounds fucking scientific.
Yeah, I'm nutrifying myself.
If this is how you're nourishing your family, you better take a second look at what you're doing. Because
good.
But even then, you're buying stuff at the supermarket. I mean, you're lessening your odds, but even supermarket food
garbage. No, yeah, I mean, in the supermarket, I instruct my wife that we basically stick to the outer rim of the supermarket and basically everything in the center is just garbage. Anything that comes in a package is just garbage. Like the stuff that we normally like when we shop, it's hard not to get stuff from a package, but for the most part, I try to stay on like one ingredient foods, lettuce or fruit or meat.
But even the lettuce, the lettuce can have equal. You gotta wash it really well.
True. That's true.
You know, I hate to disappoint our viewers, but I am no vegan. Just look at me. I am not a vegan, so I like my proteins. And it's even hard to find like a local butcher shop where you can get, locally butchered food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I like burgers, but my mom,
Mm-hmm.
if she makes burgers, which is rare, very rare, or if she uses ground beef, because she does like to do like, some bolognese from time to time, she'll go to the butcher, she'll look at the top rounds, and she'll say, grind me up a pound of that. And they put it in. But even then, if they're not clean, if they don't clean,
right,
that grinder well, so
that's
it's
why
it's
like,
tough.
Right now, like one of my idols, the people I look up to, and I'm really considering being more of a hunter because of this guy, is Cam Hanes, and I'll pull him up if you'd like to see him, but he's a bow hunter, and one of the things that he says is like, a lot of people hate on him because he likes to post pictures of him like shooting an animal or whatever, but he's like, if you're a meat eater, then likely you're paying like a supermarket hitman to get your food, because how else are they going to get to your plate?
See, but the caveat
Mm.
with being the hunter is, do you have the heart of taking a bow and striking that animal with an arrow, watching the animal die, and then processing the carcass?
Well, the thing
It's not
is like,
easy. It's easier said than done.
no, it's definitely easier said than done, but at the end of the day, someone's doing it for you, and someone's doing it for you. You can't know for sure, what's being done to your meat. At least he knows for sure, what's being done to his meat, because
my family, I used to live in Providence, Rhode Island. We used to go to our local farm. We would buy a pig. We would buy a goat. We definitely bought live chickens.
This is Cam Hanes. This is the kind of stuff that he posts, like people hate on him for posting things like this, but he's like, this is the real way. This is how everyone gets their meat. He just likes to do it himself.
And let me tell you, that meat is delicious.
I'm sure it is. That's the other thing. And you got heart here.
I don't do hearts, but
and that's what he does. Like this guy runs a marathon on a daily, and this is like his normal routine here. Practice makes perfect. Look at that. Right in the bullseye. He does this every day. But yeah, that and he's running every day because apparently it takes a lot of cardio to, get up the animal.
Oh, it's not easy. It is not easy.
He's doing.
We will soon be interviewing a bow hunter on our podcast, and he's going to tell us the in and outs of bow hunting.
Yeah, for sure. So this is just the guy I listen to. Really good. His name is Cameron Hanes. He's got a new book out called Endure. So if you like him, he's no affiliate of ours. He's just someone I think he's a good listen to. He's a good inspiration. Someone that doesn't go by the regular supermarket thing. He goes and does his own. He gets his own meat.
But I'm sorry, but I just wanted to make a statement that even though if you're not willing to go out bow hunting, you could start off small, make a little garden.
Oh, for sure.
During the spring, you can plant a myriad of things. You can do eggplants, tomatoes, lettuce, cabbage, pumpkins. A lot of people
we're broadcasting from the middle of Narnia right now, and one thing that we've learned is that the previous owners of Narnia, they used a lot of like pesticides to keep the weed. What was it? Not pesticides is one thing, but the was it Monsanto Roundup to keep all the weed killer to keep all.
Yeah, you got to be careful with the Roundup. It's dangerous, especially if you are growing things to eat.
Right.
Stay away from that. There are natural products that you can make at home.
Is that now that we don't do that, it's a lot harder to keep everything in check. It's tough. You need to get in there. You need to be active in it. But the results is that you have a much more nutrient dense soil, which is great for your plants that you're growing.
This year, we just bought this property, so we're still trying to get the lay of the land. But in the future, I wouldn't mind growing eggplants, tomatoes, green onions, and starting a little farm is not a bad idea.
No,
because of all this problems that supermarkets are having, fast food restaurants are having, and now we got to worry about polio in the water.
Yeah.
And if it's in one state, believe you me,
it's going to cross.
It's going to, cross contaminate, and it's going to go from state to state. And it's unfortunate because we want to reduce the plastics, but the drinkable water, New York's water is fantastic. It's one of the best water in all 50 states, but now they just tainted it with this polio stuff.
It makes me think is this a way to scare New Yorkers to get vaccinated? Because maybe there's there must be some sort of an agenda to it, because why are they scaring all of us? I mean, unless I don't know.
I mean, polio is scary.
Polio is scary, I for sure, but I don't know. To me, there's always a 3D chess. Why would the mainstream media have us focusing on that? Normally, if you take the tinfoil hat perspective, it's they always are trying to make you look here that they don't. So that they get away with what's going on over here,
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure.
So
but what surprises me is that polio hasn't been a problem in over 50 to 60 years.
That's another reason why I question it, because it's is it because are they using polio because they know that it's scary? And they know that we're going to be more afraid of it, because it was something I heard, and I might be able to bring it up, but there's something I heard where the kings and queens of the medieval times, you would think that when they were the happiest is when the whole kingdom is at peace and everybody's getting along and everything's going great. But in reality, that's when the kings and queens are most scared, because if the whole kingdom at peace, everybody's getting along and everything's great, then they have time to think. And when they have time to think, well, wait a minute. Why do these people have everything? And we get a designated portion. Like, what does these people do? Right? And then just that thought could get them to retaliate, maybe break down the throne. And those medieval times, kings and queens had to be wary of, anybody like times of Rome. The Roman emperors would get assassinated, commonly. Just happened. Just get assassinated, right? So, what the kings and queens would do is they would have things to get the population to swap about something, and fight over each other for something like they'll have, like for example, the food, right? They will have I guess back in the middle medieval times, kings and queens had the ability to hold on to the grain, hold on to bread or whatever. So they'll only give out a little.
They will ration it.
Right? And they'll only give out a little bit to the kingdom on purpose, so that kingdom is more focused about food and more caring or fighting, squabbling amongst each other. So a great example is Vlad the Impaler, right? He would be known to die, right, in front of people getting killed, right? Because if you don't know who Vlad the Impaler is, that's who they base
Dracula
off of. And what he would do is horrible. What he would do is he would take people, and he had this blunt, how would I describe it?
Like an obelisk.
Yeah, kind of like an obelisk.
An object with a point in the front, and it gets wider.
Right. It's like it almost looks like a joust, right? Like one of those jousting rods, right? But picture a big one, right? And what they'll do is they'll start you off in the butt. They have you sit on this blunt object, and the gravity will just tear you up from the inside out until it comes out of you some way, and you're sliding down this cone thing, this cone spear, right?
And how do you correlate this to?
Well, what I'm saying is that he was Vlad the Impaler was like a noble. He was like a king of his time, right? So he would sit down to dinner with that in front, and he was perfectly at peace. And the reason being was because people beyond that border were all squabbling and getting all upset, and he loved that because that meant he was safe.
It kind of reminds me of a statement that was made by Denzel Washington. Did you see that statement?
What statement is that?
Denzel Washington said, when you're going through turmoil and things are not going right, and you feel like the adversary is testing you at all times, right? That's when you know that you're walking right with the Lord. But when everything is going perfect, you got no problems, everything is fine, and you don't feel like you're being tested by the Lord, that's just the devil saying, yes, he's doing exactly what I want. Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
So that being said, I want to transition us into something, and Vlad the Impaler is perfect transition because this guy, Prince Charles, who's now King Charles, has once made a very a comment stating that he is a descendant of Vlad the Impaler, and he just mentioned that off the cuff. So let me just pull this up here.
He mentioned that
Yeah, and he was very happy to say that.
because he's also saying that his bloodline goes all the way back to the Merovingian bloodline,
So let me see here.
which is why he is king.
So let me, yeah. So let me see here. I think I have it here.
Which is why he wants to change his name.
You know, it's not quite as easy as it used to be. It's bad enough at 73.
This is it. Hold on. He does say it. Hold on, let me see.
I want to hear him say it.
Let me see.
There's one country in Europe that's devoted to our very own Prince Charles, and it's a case of mutual appreciation. Every year for over 2 decades, he sets off east to one of his favourite bolt holes. This is the story of Charles, Prince of Romania, or perhaps more aptly, Charles, Prince of Transylvania. His first trip was in 1998, and he now owns 10 properties in Transylvania and has established the Fundacja Princell de Wales, a foundation trust that helps preserve rural communities and traditional skills. Given the prince's love of horticulture, architecture, and agro-tourism, it's not surprising that Transylvania, home to Europe's last wild bears and wolves, caught his imagination. When he visits in the spring, the hay meadows are a colourful hive of activity, and the landscapes dotted with peasant villages and medieval fortifications. But the connection between Britain's future king and this nation on the eastern edge of the EU runs far deeper than the restorative powers of Romania's landscape. When over there, Prince Charles regularly talks up his direct bloodline with the country's most famous anti-hero. That's right, Vlad the Impaler, renowned for the bloodthirsty treatment of his enemies and thought to be the inspiration behind Bram Stoker's Dracula, is apparently the Prince of Wales's 16 times removed grandfather. But the most spectacular of all his Romanian connections was Romania's Queen, Marie, a 20th century tour de force. It's striking that she was famous for refusing to wear rubber gloves when visiting the typhus-infected soldiers, just as Princess Diana made headlines when she publicly touched AIDS victims. Over the years as our future king, Charles has had to meet some pretty unsavoury people, including Romania's former dictator Nicolae Ceausescu, when he came on a state visit to Buckingham Palace in 1978.
Doesn't look like he's saying it.
But within 10 years of that rendezvous, Charles had turned his ire on Ceausescu, a prince known for his spidery missives. In 1989, he openly condemned the tyrant's systematic destruction of Romania's historic villages. Opposition not without danger. Charles would write, "I hope you receive this before some frightful undercover agent stabs me in the left buttock with a poisoned umbrella." The owner of several authentic Transylvanian properties, in the exquisite Saxon stronghold of Viscri, Romanian tourists on the trail of Charles are now so numerous, locals have started to complain. But in general, the country loves him. In 2017, the president awarded him one of Romania's highest honours, Steaua Romaniei, the Star of Romania. Back in Highgrove, Charles has apparently sown a Transylvanian hay meadow, and during lockdown on Videolink, he addressed Britain's large Romanian diaspora who were unable to return home for their Orthodox Easter. If you visit Romania, don't be surprised if you're asked about our British Charles and his Romanian habit.
Oh, that's interesting.
The Daily Mail, but he actually says it. I don't know. Let's see if I find something here. Yeah, pause this. So yeah, he actually says and is proud of the fact that he is related to Vlad the Impaler. So yeah, that's gonna be.
He ain't the prince no more. Now he's king.
Yeah, he's gonna be the new king of England.
Now, I heard something quite fascinating about the king. which I did not listen to his coronation. He's already been coronated, right?
I believe so. You want to listen to it?
Yeah, because before you go into that, he has stated several times that he wanted to change the coronation ceremony. There's a part in the coronation ceremony where he says, well, not him, it's part of the ceremony, coronation ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sentence that says that he is the defender of the faith, right? And of when they say of the faith, meaning the Protestant religion.
Okay.
I believe they're Protestant. If I'm Google that for me, see what religion.
Okay.
The Royals are. I believe they're Protestant. I might be wrong.
Yep. Protestant, Anglican Church is what they say.
Yeah. So now he wants to change it, and not of defender of the faith, is defender of faith. Meaning he wants to encompass all religions, which kind of diminishing our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And that's getting traction, because even the Pope is kind of diminishing that Jesus Christ was the Son of God.
The Pope.
The Pope.
Wow.
Google it.
Google it.
Google it.
All right. Oh. Know what that means? That means we've gone through another half hour, and we have a visitor, our friend Mr. Lucy.
What was that?
Oh my Lord.
You fucked up. Now you need a bow bow.
Oh no.
Bow.
That's for Prince Charles.
And don't call me fucking Lucy.
Pow! If only I could have let pow! Pow!
Who doesn't like to be called Lucy? Well, thank you for joining our Pyramid Podcast. And if you want to donate, once again, you can easily donate at thepyramidshop.com. That's thepyramidshop.com.
I'm just playing a little background music here, on our topic. Very ominous song here by Concord Dawn, In the Morning Light, which is kind of relevant, being that King Charles, who is probably a member of the Golden Dawn and all those fraternities. But anywho, let's get back into.
All right, so we went down the Prince Charles rabbit hole, but now I have something from our favorite.
Well, wait a minute, we cannot leave our listeners in limbo. Did you get any information on Pope?
Oh yes, we can't leave our listeners in. Also, give me 1 second here. So you're saying the Pope is stating that Jesus isn't the Son of God?
Pope Francis now is like leaning towards the acceptance of more religions, such as Islam, Judaism, and kind of now is diminishing the fact. He's kind of like heading towards that maybe Jesus Christ wasn't the Son of God, which is like now rendering Jesus sort of like.
Oh, here we go. We got something here. It says the Vatican said Wednesday that an Italian journalist it has previously corrected that. Okay, hold on. It says an Italian journalist it has previously corrected was not speaking accurately when he claimed the Pope Francis denied Christ's divinity. As already stated on the other occasions, the words Dr. Eugenio Scalfari attributes in a quotation marks to the Holy Father during talks with him cannot be considered a faithful account of what was actually said, but represent a personal and free interpretation of what he heard, as appears completely evident. Well, this sounds like cover, but again, this is from the Catholic News Agency, so
he has made. I don't have the actual quote, but I was listening to Clyde Lewis, and Clyde Lewis is stating that the Pope, little by little, is leaning towards the belief that maybe Jesus was not the Son of God. You know, that he was, I don't know if he, by him just saying that, he's diminishing all the miracles, everything that Jesus did. You know, how can you say he's not the Son of God and now believe that he did all these miracles?
Okay,
so now the Vatican is like doing a shift.
So we got something here from the Legacy Tele-Live Vision. So this is CNN. So let me pull this up here. It says Pope said what? More stunners from Francis. Okay, it says here in politics they're gonna call it off message. In acting, they're gonna call it off script. In the Catholic Church under Pope Francis, it has become business as usual. Put the 81-year-old pontiff in front of the microphone and he will make news. Case in point, during a 2015 brief press conference aboard the papal plane from the Philippines to Rome, when Francis rounded off in his very unpope-like way on birth control, corruption, and kicking grifters where the sun don't shine. Okay, here are those and several other eye-opening comments from Francis over his nearly 5 years as Pope. He says Catholic parents shouldn't be rabbits. Answering a question about birth control in 2015, Francis said that parents procreate endlessly, trusting God that it will work out. But God gives you a message to be responsible. Some think that excuse me, use that word, that in order to be Catholic, we have to be like rabbits. No, responsible parenthood. It says punch provocateur.
Kick where the sun don't shine.
It says in the same Philippines, Francis was asked about terrorist attack on the French magazine Charlie Hebdo. While denouncing terrorism, the Pope said that they're limiting free speech. If Dr. Gaspari, a great friend, says swear with my mother, then I'll punch you. Wait, Francis said, referring to Gaspari about I'm going to about this. Gaspari, a man who organizes papal trips and was then standing next to him on the plane. It is normal we cannot provoke one cannot insult other people's faith, and one cannot make fun of faith. That Pope said, in theory, violence contradicts Jesus' turn the other cheek teachings, but in practice, people must be prudent enough to not needlessly provoke others. Shine.
Okay, I have a little something here from the Catholic Word Report.
Okay.
Let's see if I can pull it up.
But it doesn't say anything about. Hold on. But it does seem cable-like. Here. Oh, here we go. I have a YouTube. Oof, this is about an hour. Use it. So looking through it here, I mean, it does say that, you know, there was a guy Scalfari, and he is saying something about it says Pope Francis conceives of Christ as Jesus of Nazareth, a man, not incarnate of God. So that right there is a revelation to itself. This is from CatholicCulture.org. It says, founded editorial Republic dropped off this sort of bombshell in the past. On the basis of exclusive interest of the pontiff, he has reported that the Pope does not believe in existence of hell, and he thinks that communists are true Christians. Each time these stories have appeared, Vatican spokesmen have said quite accurately that Scalfari's account of what the Pope said cannot be considered a Bible, since he does not record their conversations or even notes. So, according to this, it seems like it's based on one guy's testimony. They're trying to seem like what he's saying is not accurate. At least they're trying to like
yeah, they kind of. I think the Pope has
poke a jab at his editorial or journalism skills, but it appears that the Pope has been saying something about. It says have argued already, claimed that the Pope is essentially an Arian. Interesting. Is outlandish. Yet the episode is disturbing because if the Pope didn't deny Christ's divinity, and I'm sure he did. Again, this is CatholicCulture.org. I don't know how true this isn't. There are plausible explanations for the appearance of the Scalfari column, and neither is reassuring. So, I don't know
well, I think there's a reason why he is going this route. Because I believe they're doing like a religious coalition between Jewish. They're building something in where the dome of the rock is Jerusalem. I think they're building a church or a building to accept all religions. Google that.
Okay. It says here.
I think it's a place where Jews, I think the Imam, the Pope, and I don't know what you call the highest rabbi in the land.
I'm not sure.
Let me see if I can find something, because this is interesting. Because this can tie up right into King Charles.
So I'm seeing Dome of the Rock facts here, facts and details, but I'm not seeing what they're building here. It says the Dome of the Rock was the first real mosque and set the tone for all mosques that were to follow. A simple, let's see if I put this up here. This is from factsandDetails.com. It says the Dome of the Rock in the middle of Temple Mount, the most sacred area of Jerusalem, is the oldest and in the minds of many the most beautiful mosque. Known to the Mosque of Omar is an 8-sided structure with a golden dome that was built by the Umayyad, I don't know how to say that, Umayyad Muslim Caliph, and Abd al-Malik between AD 688 and 692. The first built in the Muslim world, it symbolizes the consent that all Muslims make to God, who represented by the circle of Mosque, Great Golden Dome. The Prophet Mosque in Medina is regarded as the world's first mosque. The little or nothing of the original remains, which is why the Dome of the Rock is considered the world's oldest mosque.
The Dome of the Rock is actually where.
And it says here the Dome of the Rock was the first real mosque and set the tone for all mosques to follow. The Dome of the Rock consists of two octagonal ambulatories, Temple Mount.
Okay, this is what I got from a publication called The Blade.
Okay.
Pope meets with Rabbi, Imam, and Druze members for a new initiative to promote peace in the Holy Land. Vatican City, a delegation of Muslim, Christian, and Jewish and Druze religious leaders in Israel met Thursday with Pope Benedict. I don't know that number. I don't know what is it, Pope Benedict or what?
I'm not sure.
It's X51 2026. I don't know. Well, anyway, Pope Benedict, in a high-profile display in an effort to promote interfaith peace initiatives in the religion, the Council of Religious Leaders in Israel was created in 2007 in Jerusalem to bring together Christians, Muslims, and Jewish leaders in Israel to raise awareness about the need for interfaith dialogue and cooperation in the Holy Land. Now, if you listen with a third ear, part of this peace initiative, in order for these religions to coexist in peace, you have to remove somebody. And who is that somebody?
Well, in that region you have the Jews, the Catholics.
No. Remember, listen with a third ear. You have Jews,
Right.
Christians,
Right.
and Muslims. Now, there's a common denominator between Muslims and Jewish people.
Between all three of them. Because apparently, the way I understand it anyway, is that Judaism is like, for us, the Old Testament, right? The original.
Right, but listen to where I'm going. Let's not get distracted. I'm going to tell you what it is. In order for these three faiths to coexist in harmony, you got to remove Jesus Christ as Lord, as Son of the Lord and Savior. Son of the Lord. Because Muslims don't believe in Jesus. They have a different Jesus that was a prophet who lived as a man and died as a man, and there was no resurrection. No, there's a Jesus in the Muslim religion. That Jesus exists and he's a very high profile figure in the Muslim religion. They just don't believe he died on the cross. Jews totally denounce that Jesus was the Son of God. Then you have Christians that believe that Jesus was the Son of God. So if you diminish Jesus in the Christian religion, now you can create harmony between all three, because the big sticking point is Jesus. You understand? So over here, the audience with the Pope was designed in part to boost the profile of the council. And let me go back. It's the Council of Religious Leaders in Israel. So I think that's why these comments are coming from the Pope. He's like slowly getting the Christian followers to start taking a different view of Jesus, because he wants this interfaith coalition to happen, which brings supposedly peace within religions. And if you read Revelations, and I don't ask me Revelations book, chapter, verse, because I don't know. But hopefully, one of our listeners, because we have very smart listeners, will tell me, where does this appear in the Bible? And I believe is in Revelations, where the highest priest in the land, it will come a point where he will deny Jesus, thus bringing in the adversary and the start of the Antichrist dominion over earth. So a lot of people are scared because the Pope already has alluded several times to this. And it's not only that guy. From what I was listening to Clyde Lewis, I think he's made this statement a couple of times. Like, he's diminishing the story of Jesus Christ in an effort to bolster this coalition.
Well, that also reminds me of something that you had told me this week that I'm gonna bring up here.
And this is I'm tying this with King Charles, because King Charles has made some statements that he wants, when he becomes king, he wants to remove defender of the faith to defender of faith, going along with the Pope's sentiment. You know what I'm saying? Because now it's not about defending the Christian faith, but defending faith in general. But then check this out. If they do that, right? Now, King Charles, because now he is king, also had made some statements that he wanted to change his name from King Charles to King Arthur, which brings him into the fold as a direct descendant of the Merovingians, which states that, I believe is the Merovingian bloodline, which states that Jesus Christ didn't die on the cross, but escaped to Europe and sired a family, thus creating the Merovingian bloodline, which is why he is who he is now, King Charles.
I'm trying to look up to see if there's anything that states. It says some royal experts also think it's unlikely that the king is considering ruling with a different name. I think it's very probable that he would be King Charles III. I think there would be no good reason why he might not. But it says here, he has dedicated his life to championing causes close to his heart, and he has been doing that as HRH Charles, Prince of Wales. The continuity of his work would be clear if he progressed as King Charles. Additionally, many of the British public will be devastated at the loss of the Queen, and even those who are not monarchists will be coming to terms with the first new head of state in around 70 years. So Charles will want to promote stability and consistency, according to this. But let's see here. It doesn't say anything about Arthur.
Now, this is from The Guardian. Were you reading from The Guardian?
No, I got this from Town and Country magazine.
Well, The Guardian says Charles II spent much of his time consorting with very attractive, extremely bosom. Oh, wait a minute. What is this?
Is it true that Prince Charles will need to change his name? He already became King of England due to misfortunes of the previous King Charles. Maybe that's why. Charles II spent much of his time consorting with very attractive, extremely buxom young lady called Nell Gwyn. Maybe that's how you pronounce that. Maybe our present Charles would have welcomed such a misfortune. I'm reading off what you got here in The Guardian, but let me see here. It says here, Cosmopolitan. It says, when Prince Charles formally ascends to the throne, he might go by a new name. Prince Charles is now the King of England, but while you might assume he'll go down in history as King Charles, or more specifically King Charles III, that isn't necessarily the case. Apparently, it's common for potential monarchs to switch things up before formally hopping on the throne, and Charles could start going by a completely different name. It says here, the former Buckingham Palace press spokesperson, Dickie Arbiter, let me just share this with you guys. Dickie Arbiter, who, if you're a royal nerd like me, you'll know his father. You'll know, this is interesting how they write this. You'll know is the father of royal reporter Victoria Arbiter. Tells Hello that Charles could go by one of his middle names once he ascends to the throne. He might choose one of other names, Philip, Arthur, or George.
There you go.
Arbiter explains. Again, Hello notes Charles would hardly be the first king to make this call. In fact, his grandfather, King George the Fourth, was actually named Albert, and King Edward the Seventh. Oh no! So this is King George the Sixth, and King Edward the Seventh was also named Albert. So they were originally named Albert, and they changed their names to either George or Edward.
So with that said, do you have the coronation ceremony?
I actually do.
Let's see what he says. Did he change? Drum roll.
Well, this is his first speech as king.
I speak to you today with feelings of profound sorrow. Throughout her life, Her Majesty the Queen, my beloved mother, was an inspiration, an example to me and to all my family. And we owe her the most heartfelt debt any family could owe to their mother for her love, affection, guidance, understanding, and example. Queen Elizabeth was a life well lived, a promise.
Oh,
That's interesting.
Promise with destiny kept, and she is mourned most deeply in her passing. That promise of lifelong service I renew to you all today, alongside the personal grief that all my family are feeling. We also share with so many of you in the United Kingdom, in all the countries where the Queen was head of state, in the Commonwealth, and across the world, a deep sense of gratitude for the more than 70 years in which my mother, as Queen, served the people of so many nations. In 1947, on her 21st birthday, she pledged in a broadcast from Cape Town to the Commonwealth to devote her life, whether it be short or long, to the service of her peoples. That was more than a promise. It was a profound personal commitment which defined her whole life. She made sacrifices for duty. Her dedication and devotion as sovereign never wavered through times of change and progress, through times of joy and celebration,
First ever speech as king.
and through times of sadness and loss.
pause it.
In her life of
I don't want to hear a eulogy.
Yeah.
I want to see the coronation.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see.
monarchy also remain, as does the sovereign's particular
No,
relationship.
it's a ceremony. They
I should
actually,
never-
Oh, okay.
it's a big ceremony where you watched many movies. You've seen Game of Thrones. You've seen Lord of the Rings. It's all the fanfare and
So let's see.
I don't know if it's happened yet.
It says 4 days ago.
Coronation ceremony?
Right here inside Buckingham Palace. When he was 3 years old, he became the heir apparent to the throne and would go on to become one of the hardest working and most visible royals. CBS's Mark Phillips has more now on the new king and the challenges he faces.
Your Majesty, Mummy.
The then Prince Charles at the celebration of the 70th anniversary of his mother's reign. Charles may have been a king in training for more than 7 decades, but he still divides opinion on what sort of king he will be.
I think he'd be a very good king. The monarchy is going to be a very hard act to follow.
Charles comes to the throne late.
Well, that sound means it's time for another break. It's just to let our audience know that you can easily donate at thepyramidshop.com. We need your donations to get this podcast up to snuff. We need some equipment here to get the echoing out of our broadcasts. That piece of equipment will be known as the Roadcaster. So if anyone wants to donate just that to us, that'll be great. But anything that you guys can send over to us will be used towards that. And again, we're going off of the value for value model, which means that if you're donating, you're just not a philanthropist that's just donating to us. Actually, you are a podcast producer, and you're helping us produce this podcast. So now that being said, I'm trying to find the coronation. I'm not sure if this has happened yet. But look, yeah.
It says over here, the coronation of King Charles III and his wife Camilla as king and queen consort of the United Kingdom and other Commonwealth realms is to be symbolic. Is to be the symbolic high point of his ascension. Charles III succeeded to be throne. Charles III succeeded to the throne on September 8th, 2022, upon the death of his mother. The coronation will be a state occasion funded by the British government. It will be expected to take place in 2023 and to be a shorter, more inclusive, and less expensive than previous coronations. It hasn't happened yet.
That's why I can't find it. Okay.
Now, this is interesting.
2023, we'll find out.
So, let's see. Do they... As the preparation for the ceremony takes time, the coronation is not likely to take place for several months. Elizabeth II's coronation was held 16 months after her ascension. Privy councillors will be appointed to, her ascension. The Buckingham Palace also wants to ensure that there is enough time to mourn the death of Charles's predecessor before holding a joyous ceremony, which makes sense.
Right.
A committee composed of privy councillors will be appointed to arrange for the coronation, though probably only after a month of court mourning for Elizabeth II. Charles' coronation thus expected to take place in the spring or summer of 2023, possibly on June 2nd, the 70th anniversary of his mother's coronation.
June 2nd of 2023?
The anti-monarchist organization Republic has announced to protest in the lead up to the ceremony.
Interesting. Well, it's been
so he has a lot of time to think this over. Is he going to be King Charles? Is he going to delete the from Defender of the Faith? And will he plan to abolish Parliament and crown himself king?
I think so. Well, I have an interesting clip here. So now we're entering the conspiracy hours. And now I have this really interesting post here from our favorite journalist, Mr. Greg Reese. Something really interesting to say. Just check out this
That's Vlad the Impaler right there.
So check this out. Let's see here. There was an error with the playback. Just give me 1 second here. Always technical difficulties when we are spilling the tea here. All right, let's see.
With all that shit you got in the background? Maybe there's a wires cross somewhere.
Let's see.
Again, thank you folks for listening to the Pyramid Podcast. Please join.
Everyone says that today, the royal family is nothing more than a ceremonial figure, even though they choose the government, have final approval.
Oh, great. Interesting. We're directly connected this podcast, and we're still having some delays
Over all legislation and own half the country. And so while we remember Queen Elizabeth,
I'm going to pause this real quick because he says something pretty interesting. He says that even though the people of Britain believe that the king and queens are just like ceremonial, that they don't really have any power,
Like a luxury for the country.
In reality, they do have a lot of authority. They pick a lot of the people in parliament. They do a lot of the stuff already. So let's go back because he says something pretty interesting here.
Listen with a third ear, folks. Listen with a third ear.
Than a ceremonial figure, even though they choose the government.
Of course, technical difficulties.
Just be patient,
Have
because the
final
powers that
approval
be.
over all legislation
It says the formal phrase
and
crown
own
parliament.
half the country.
He has a little thing here. It says the formal phrase crown in parliament is used to describe the British legislature, which consists of sovereign, the House of Lords, and the House of Commons. The King's duties include opening each new session of Parliament, granting royal assent to legislation, and approving orders and proclamations through the Privy Council.
Over all legislation and own half the country. And so while we remember
Give it.
King Charles takes control of the royal estate, estimated to be worth $27 billion. Royal estate.
Queen Elizabeth, let us not forget how this incestuous family
Incestuous.
their own children to gain power.
This is a great report. I don't like that skipping myself. Try to get it better.
Parliamentary lawfare.
You shouldn't have any issues. For some reason we're having issues here.
Welcome to our life, folks.
And this will be.
And it's a very interesting report. I'm already hooked.
Yeah, he always got the good reports here. Let me see. I'm gonna try a different browser because perhaps they're attacking my browser. So let's see here.
Again, folks, please visit our website, thepyramidshop.com, where you can donate to our podcast. We are right now in search of what is it called? A roadcaster? We're in desperate need of a roadcaster. We'll take a used one, for Christ's sake. We just need it to make this podcast a little bit better. But if you want to make
Great reset in the war
donation, it's fine. Anything is accepted. And pretty soon we're going to have coffee.
Absolutely. Coffee and supplements available on thepyramidshop.com.
Yeah, just a quick plug. We're going to have our own line of vitamins. We're going to call it Pyramid Supplements. And, you know, it's a nice way to donate to the podcast. You know, you can buy our products and help us out because we're in desperate need of equipment. So here we go. Let's see.
All right.
Everyone says that today, the royal family is nothing more than a ceremonial figure, even though they choose the government, have final approval over all legislation, and own half the country. And so while we remember Queen Elizabeth, let us not forget how this incestuous family has used their own children to gain power. Parliamentary lawfare over trading rights between England and Scotland led to the first iteration of the United Kingdom in 1707 and created the legal groundwork for George of Hanover to be crowned King of England and Ireland in 1714. He was 55 years old, married to his first cousin, and didn't speak any English because he was from the German House of Hanover. The English people were not happy about this, and his coronation was met with riots all across the country, followed by years of rebellions. His grandson, King George III, inspired the American Revolution, and when his granddaughter Victoria married her first cousin, Prince Albert, the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha took sway over the country. Throughout the First World War, the people of England were questioning the loyalty of the German bloodlines who ruled over them, which prompted the royal family to change their name to Windsor in 1917. 9 years later, Queen Elizabeth was born, who was initiated into the Druid Order in 1946, married Prince Philip of Nazi bloodlines in 1947, and gave birth to Charles in 1948. In 2010, William Coombs, survivor of Canada's infamous residential schools where the mass graves of children were found, claimed to have witnessed Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip visit the Kamloops Residential School in 1964, where they took 10 of the children away with them, never to return. A year later, William Coombs dies in the hospital. In 1988, Prince Philip told the German press that he hopes to be reincarnated as a deadly virus to help with the population problem. And his son, King Charles, likes to joke on television how he is related to Dracula.
His Royal Highness Prince Charles, who can trace his ancestry back to Romania's dark and distant past.
The genealogy shows that I'm descended from Vlad the Impaler, you see. So I do have a bit of a stake in the country.
As it were.
These royals are the result of an incestuous breeding program wherein children were used as a way to gain power over the masses. So it's no surprise that they are caught up with the likes of Jeffrey Epstein, who made a living using children to leverage power, and Jimmy Savile, who had unfettered access to rape hundreds of children inside NHS hospitals and was a dear friend of King Charles. Along with Klaus Schwab, King Charles is a founder of the Great Reset. He's as green as Greta Thunberg. And last year, he announced the need for a military-style campaign to bring the world to zero emissions.
Here we need a vast military-style campaign to marshal the strength of the global private sector. With trillions at its disposal, far beyond global GDP, and with the greatest respect, beyond even the governments of the world's leaders, it offers the only real prospect of achieving fundamental economic transition. So, how do we do it?
We know how they'll do it. By cutting off Europe's fuel and forcing the people back into the 1700s. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
So what do you think of that report?
Very interesting. Very interesting. I mean, you can't put it past the Royals.
Yeah, so he has a nice little string here because he has a couple of things with regards to the Royals that I want to bring up. Let me go back to the Trello here. So now that's his expose of dark ugly past of time of crisis. That's what he called. Right?
He's called Prince Charles calling him the climate crisis. Which is funny because that's what everyone's talking about now. Climate crisis. We're trying to use that as the way to control us all. But now we're talking about Princess Diana. The favorite of everybody. Everybody loves Princess Diana.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Well, he has here something about Princess Diana and the rituals and the death of Anne Heche. So I wanted to bring this one up because this seems very interesting too. Let me bring it up here.
Because there was a reason that Charles married her.
It must have been. Sure.
Absolutely. It all has to deal with bloodlines.
Oh, I'm sure. That's everything is all about. I mean, in every show and everything, that's all they go about, the bloodline. And as far I don't know where I got this information from, so I don't know how true it is. But I believe the reason they are so stringent on this bloodline thing is because they believe that they're the last offenders of or the last or the only keepers of this world, right? So I don't know where I got this from. It might be in an episode of Ancient Aliens, but from what I heard, it was like the royals are descendants of being that came to Earth, right? And I believe that they're going by the ancient astronaut theory. I believe they're connecting it to Enki and Enlil of the
Anunnaki.
The Anunnaki came here and gave power to select few people, those being royals, to govern the savages, the 8 people, which are the rest of us, right? So, so the royals have this alien bloodline, and they're trying to preserve that bloodline because they believe their blood is different, and their heritage and DNA is different and cannot mingle with the rest of the population.
Well, that harkens back to their belief that they rule. I mean, this goes back to
the Great Reset of the
antiquity.
Has now arrived in our warehouse.
That
Now beginning to ship.
That they rule with divine right. You know, because God has chosen them to rule. So I don't put it past them that they believe in this extraterrestrial race that appointed their bloodline as rulers and dominion over the earth. But this is why this particular event of, you know, the Queen passing is so poignant, because England and the monarchy hasn't had a king in 70 years.
Right.
So now
that's very true.
The kingdom now falls back in the hands of a man.
Right.
A king.
The first king of England in 70 years.
So a lot of people are thinking that this is the coming of the Antichrist. Because there's a lot of religious scholars, as with every timeline, when things start to go, you know, array and there's a lot of pandemonium, you know, we are experiencing some very strange changes on our planet, which, you know, everybody falls to the revelations, the apocalypse, and
right.
They're kind of like saying, could King Charles, aka King Arthur, who can trace back his lineage to Jesus Christ, could he be the false prophet? And it kind of makes sense if he is now integrating all religions by saying defender of faith, not of the faith, of faith. So that way he can encompass everybody, Jews, Muslims, Hindus, so on and so forth, and gaining favor with the population. And if he decides to get rid of Parliament, I don't know how he would do that without creating some extreme turmoil around the world. But interesting times are coming. And I've been feeling, I don't want to sound redundant because this is a comment, being felt by everybody. Something's coming. Something big is coming.
Did you hear that even Elon Musk is saying that?
Elon Musk predicted that the apocalypse, human extinction, is imminent.
Yeah, it says the end of humanity, he says, is close. I have something here from this is India Times. Let me get something a little bit more credible here. The Express.co. Let me see here.
Now, what does Elon know that we don't?
I don't know, but it says end of the world fears. Let me share my screen here. Here we go. It says end of the world fears. Elon Musk warns that there's 100% chance of global extinction. 100% chance of global extinction. SpaceX CEO Elon Musk warned every species on Earth will one day face total extinction due to the expansion of the sun. To date, the Earth has 5 mass extinction events, with the most famous one being the giant asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs 66 million years ago. The devastation caused by the asteroid was historic. 76% of the world's species were wiped out by the asteroid impact and its subsequent after effects. Now, scientists have found evidence the 6th mass extinction event is currently underway, based on a comprehensive study on biodiversity loss of Earth. Loss of the Earth. Responding to a discussion about this topic, Mr. Musk tweeted, "There is a 100% chance of all species extinction due to the expansion of the sun. As humanity makes life multi-planetary." So he has an agenda there. I mean, he wants Mars. It says while the sun is expected to expand all the Earth, incarcerating everything in its path. Incinerating everything in its path. This is not likely to happen for another billion years. Obviously, Mr. Musk has previously stated that he wants to ensure that humanity is a planet before Earth. He had said something.
Well, yeah, the article says it. He is expecting some imminent doom upon humanity.
Well, he's saying in this one, what the article is saying is that he's worried about like some kind of like the sun engulfing the Earth, but that's not going to happen for another 66 billion years.
Yeah, but the sun does whatever the hell it wants.
Well, that's true too.
It could happen tonight. You know what I'm saying? We could speculate, analyze, do whatever the hell we want. When the sun is gonna do something, it will do it.
Well, let's see. Over here, I got another article. It says Elon Musk's apocalypse warning as he predicts the end of mankind. This will happen again. It says this is from the Daily Star. Let me open this up here to you guys. So it says Elon Musk has taken to Twitter once again to issue a stark warning to humanity. The SpaceX mogul took to the social media site to alert his 104 million followers to his harrowing theory, sharing a link to a BBC article about the death of the dinosaurs. Musk tweeted, "This will happen again, just a matter of time," seemingly referring to civilization's potential impending doom. It says the article read the asteroid that ended the Cretaceous took with it famous dinosaurs and Tyrannosaurus and Triceratops, as well as the known but bizarre creatures like the Ents or the Hell. It says it then went on to describe small, rodent-like animals such as Purgatorius, as well as our distant ancestors, that then took the place of the planet's former inhabitants. Musk's many fans chimed in with some saying already happening and others speculated following the past 10% of Earth's Earth's past years. Crazy. We know there have been 5 mass extinctions. So everyone, the 50 to 100 million years of so we have one every 50 to 100 million years. And it's been awfully quiet past 65 million years. Just living on the planet sounds pretty good right about now. So it looks like we have extinctions every 50 to 100 million years and 65 million years.
Well, he's pushing his SpaceX agenda there, but
yeah, that's what it seems like.
It's interesting.
Yeah,
but
sure.
like I said, right now there's a lot of things going on, and I wanna give our audience a taste of something terrifying.
Oh yeah, the Euphrates River.
Yes, it is said in the Bible that the end of times will be near when the Euphrates, Tigris rivers dry up, because there's an ancient legend which is written in the Bible that says when the fallen angels came and procreated with human females, the creation of the Nephilim happened. Now, 4 of the most vicious, of the most evil of the fallen angels were caged in a subterranean cave located in Syria, or in the region of Syria, because the Bible is very particular with its.
Apparently, from what I heard, the Euphrates River is one of the original rivers that led to the Garden of Eden, which apparently is in that part of the world.
Yes, they say that Syria could be the place where the Garden of Eden was located. So the Bible is very meticulous with describing the regions of where things happened. And they said that these angels were locked in subterranean prisons, which now it's come to light that the Euphrates River, the Tigris, are drying up, exposing what it seems to be prison-like caves in that region. So people, scientists who are studying these subterranean holes that resemble prisons, they have lowered microphones into these caves, and what you hear is absolutely terrifying. Now, question is, would you be able to pull that up?
Yes, I actually have it ready to go. But I just wanted people to see where the Euphrates River is, and I have it pulled up here on Google Maps. You can see it here. Let's see the satellite. That's where the Euphrates River is. Wow, the time is just going by really quickly. But again, we'd like to take this opportunity to say that this is a Value for Value podcast. In this time segment, in this little section of break, we will be anybody that donates to the podcast. We'll shout you out right here. We'll state how much you donated. If you want to be broadcast publicly, if you have a note, we'll read it. And the most important thing, it won't be a bowl along going. So we appreciate anyone that donates. We're trying to get some new podcasting equipment. Dealing with a lot of technical difficulties, issues, mistakes. So we're trying to upgrade our studio here. Little by little, we're the best we have our own pocket. But we need help from listeners like you. So if you have any value in the podcast, please donate.
And please excuse our audio. I know our video's not that bad, but our audio, we're still struggling with trying to get these mics set up the right way. We're amateurs, so we're learning on the fly.
I mean, the mics are not bad. We got mics from Blue. Shout out to Blue. And the mics aren't terrible. It's just the fact that we're running off of Windows PCs, which make things very difficult. For some reason, I don't know what it is about Windows, but they really try to make things difficult here.
Now, I know we're at the end of our commercial break.
Yes.
I just want to say, if you guys want to be the top of the line Verdugo of this podcast, if anyone has iMac, a Mac Pro, any Apple computer that they want to donate, you can claim it at the end of the year.
Yeah, and you can always reach out.
You will be doing us a big service because our Mac, due to the evil Steve Jobs,
the
computers were great, but they do something absolutely evil. They send you an upgrade and make your computer obsolete, inoperative, to the point that you cannot even take it to the Apple store.
You can't take it to the Apple store. You can't take it anywhere. Nobody will touch it. Nobody will want to even bother looking into it, because the first thing they do is they scan it and they look at the year and they're like, it's obsolete. There's nothing we can do. Meanwhile, the computer was working just fine before the update.
Which is a shame for people like us who live day to day. But just a quick note, a lot of companies are falling in line with this template.
Right.
I've heard Canon and other copier companies are now.
I went to like I was saying before we got onto the podcast, I went to Guitar Center just to see what we can do and get some better audio quality in this podcast. And the salesman behind the counter, he was like, if you think for a second that we sell things here that will last, you got another thing coming. I mean, obviously he was selling insurance. He was trying to tell me, we can get the insurance and it's like $200 extra to the purchase, but it's worth it because, if you break it, you can get a replacement or whatever. But what he was saying was very interesting because it's kind of factual, which is that they don't make anything last anymore. Nothing lasts.
Didn't he tell you like 3 days before the insurance run out, pour water on it?
Yeah, he was like, the 3 day or like the day the day before it runs out, just pour water on the machine and come back and you get a new one.
And then you wonder why we're in such economic disarray.
Yeah.
But back to Canon, I've heard Canon and other copier companies are designing their copy machines to distribute a certain amount of copies. Once you get to that amount of copies, computer, the copier is inoperative and will not work anymore.
Wow. And they can't service it and can't fix it. Yeah, I mean that's why everything right now the word
Evil.
is proprietary. You know, everything is
Evil
there.
tech, I tell you.
Yeah.
Evil tech.
So back to the Euphrates River, I have the clip right here. So what you're about to hear might be a little bit disturbing. Listeners and viewer discretion might be advised, but it's more chilling sound than anything.
Well, let me just recap. The Euphrates has been drying up for a while, but as of lately, being to drought, the Euphrates have dried up to a point to reveal strange caves. Now, these caves apparently resemble prisons. Now, in ancient lore and in Bible passages, they say that 4 of the most ruthless and evil fallen angels were imprisoned by the Lord's archangels into a prison, into a subterranean prison, and they were chained and imprisoned somewhere in the area of the Euphrates. Now, these angels are also the ones that are going to be set free in the time of in the times of the apocalypse, or the what else do they call it, the apocalypse, and not Armageddon, but there's another name for it. Armageddon, but there's also another, not the apocalypse. Well, anyway,
the day of ascension or whatever.
The day when, or the time when the devil is going to get dominion over the earth, and then eventually the Lord would vanquish
Wasn't there like
him.
a whole book that was like written, like Left Behind or something like that? Like
Yes.
Based on this.
Yeah, that's all about the rapture.
Rapture. Right. That's what we're about to face. Rapture.
The rapture, when people, the just and righteous will disappear, which COVID kind of took a lot of, you know, good people, especially in our family. After the rapture, somewhere down the road, these demons, these fallen angels are going to be released, and they're going to ravage the earth. But again, this is the sounds you're about to hear are these scientists, these individuals have lowered microphones into these subterranean cave-like prisons, and this is what they heard. This could be terrifying. Gets better. It gets better. Listen with your ear. You could actually hear the chains. That's scary.
That's scary. Did you hear the chains?
That is terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
What could that sound be? Other than
fallen angels trying to get loose?
Yeah.
It don't sound like no animal to me. I mean, if there's an unholy sound, that is one of them.
I mean, geez, it's hard to. I don't know. I mean, unless it was like a fake video, but
well, the video you see here, I don't think correlates to the sound. I think the video was just added, but I listen to Clyde Lewis a lot, and he is an audio engineer, which is why he's on the radio.
Right.
And he says that this audio does not sound doctored up at all.
Oh, sorry about that.
So he says that the audio does not seem doctored up at all. It seems that the audio is authentic. So whatever is down there, I know that Art Bell, there was some hole in Siberia, I think it was.
Okay.
And they lowered a microphone in that one, and it made some horrific sounds. That one was believed or proven to be fake. So
Right.
Clyde Lewis, I believe he compared both of them, and the one in Syria seems to be the real deal. Terrifying. Is that what we're headed towards? I have grandchildren, for Christ's sake. Is that what they gotta look forward to? We're headed to some real scary times, and let me tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what our future. I mean, I have a daughter and a son on the way, and I don't know. I don't know what our future, but I also look towards like what older people had to go through, like my great grandmother who's still around. The things that she had to witness. I mean, you had the Nazis in World War II and World War I from people, our ancestors, that what they had to face, and there was a lot more frightening things happening if you go deeper into the past, like Vladimir Taylor, for example. I mean,
yeah, but you know what brings everything to a fold, in my opinion, is that all those past events are culminating to one point, and I think we're reaching that point. Which is now, and then you have a very divisive speech by our president, Joe Biden. Behind him is a red glow. Do you got that video?
Oh, yeah, that was it. Let's see.
Reminiscent to an old propaganda film, Nazi propaganda film during the Nazi era. I mean, who made this call to put a red background behind Joe Biden? It got so bad that CNN adjusted the red into like a pinkish background. They adjusted their hue on their feed because the red made him look even demonic.
Yeah, I mean,
it was a very divisive speech.
So let's see. I have the speech here. I mean, it's 33 minutes long. Here.
No, just show the first first minute or so.
You see.
I just want the viewers to see how crazy this presidential speech was.
Yeah, let me see if I find a quick highlight on here.
Can you imagine? Just put this in your pipe. Again, we're not Trumpers. We're not MAGA. We are against all those filthy sharks and up on the hill. But can you imagine Trump doing a speech with a red glow background like that?
So it looks like he was denouncing MAGA Republicans in this speech. So
He was, absolutely was.
Equality and democracy are under assault. We do ourselves no favor to pretend otherwise. So tonight, I've come to this place where it all began to speak as plainly as I can to the nation.
Look at the two soldiers behind them.
Yeah.
Reminiscent of that old Nazi propaganda film.
Meet these threats.
Oh, yeah.
Too much of what's happening in our country today is not normal. Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. Not every Republican, not even the majority of Republicans are MAGA Republicans. Not every Republican embraces their extreme ideology. I know, because I've been able to work with these mainstream Republicans. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And they're working right now, as I speak, in state after state, to give power to decide elections in America to partisans and cronies, empowering election deniers to undermine democracy itself. They tried everything last time to nullify the votes of 81 million people. This time, they're determined to succeed in thwarting the will of the people. We are not powerless in the face of these threats. We are not bystanders in this ongoing attack on democracy. This is a nation that respects free and fair elections. We honor the will of the people. We do not deny it. Blind loyalty to a single leader and a willingness to engage in political violence.
all right.
Now, again, we're no defenders of Donald Trump because this guy's a snake in the bush. You know, this guy, they all are.
Of course.
They all are. But you have to be fair. You cannot denounce something that one side does and then shove under the rug something that your side does.
Right.
When Trump was going for the elections, and I believe when Trump, you know, was found to be the winner, there were protesters almost on every state. And there were protesters in Washington that got pretty rowdy.
Yeah. Yeah. The first time around. Yeah.
They got pretty rowdy because they were, I mean, if you would have seen the face on that woman that does the CBS Morning, what's her name?
I'm not
I
sure.
always forget this lady's name.
CBS Morning, you said?
Yeah. Something King.
Let me see here. Gail
King. If you would have seen her face when they announced Donald Trump as president, her face was like, I mean, you could put a caption, Gail King's mom died, and put the expression that she had, and you would believe her mother died. So, I mean,
let's see. I got something here. Give me a second here. Apologies for the wait time.
If you didn't think we'd make it, you were wrong.
We did.
We made it. We did all we could. November 8th.
I never doubted you. I want you to
Has
know.
dawned. Well, thank you, Charlie. Your support and yours, Gail.
Yeah.
Always appreciated. Friends of the program.
Yeah.
Charlie Rose and Gail King.
No, you know what? I think that that John Dickerson had the best line. He said, it's like you're in the waiting room of the surgery, waiting for the doctors to come out to give you the results, to find out what's going to happen. Did the
Is it a
patient
boy
make
or
it?
girl?
Is it a boy or girl? Yeah, that's good. Is it a boy or girl? I like that.
That's
This is before they announced.
Oh, I like
They're
that.
both going to be participating in the primetime coverage tonight,
Yes.
on CBS. You know, when people come here
Video.
to the building, they often
And by all means, if you find it before me, you can always add it to the Trello. But we're searching here. Let's see here.
I mean, I know everybody saw the video of Gayle King with her worrisome and devastated face.
No, that's gonna be a hard thing to find.
You would have probably saw it in that video if you would have pushed it forward when they finally got the tally.
Okay, let's see. Let's see. Powers of B is trying to slow down our internet, but we're gonna.
Extreme sectors that we've got to turn this thing around. We've got to turn whatever it is that was so bad about the spirit of the American politics around. Not that we haven't been in bad places before, but it has come to a place where it's
Oh my God! Look who's there, Charlie Rose. After his
Hillary Clinton is elected president. She's a different political animal than Barack Obama in terms of relationships, in terms of an appetite for the political
Push it
process.
forward.
How do you see her administration as potentially being different when you're talking about
solved or couldn't be handled beneath the presidency? The other problems are taken care
no,
of.
you know what you gotta do? You gotta search
you'll make all presidents
CBS
make
report the day after the election. Gayle King.
But it does have a sense, I think, the office. And you look in the hallway, there's George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and Abraham Lincoln, and you say, you know, I want to, I want to, I want.
I don't know what he was talking about there, but let's see. Not finding anything.
Well,
if
it's
if
okay.
anything, unless,
I mean, our listeners saw that day.
yeah. Well, if we'll find it, eventually we'll find it and we'll bring it up there. But yeah. So he has this great speech, you know, and they're framing, you know, the MAGA people as like almost the worst people in our nation right now. But
you have to also think, you know, these people are citizens of our country. And what do they want? They want to make America,
according to them, great again, which means that they want to, they're Republican, want to go back to a point that they thought that America was, running at its, best.
I believe that the
Conservative mindset.
the misnomer of the left opinion on that never in U.S. history, as a republic, have we witnessed something as what happened on that day. What was it, January
6th?
January 6th, what they call the insurrection.
Right.
But if you go back to the beginning of our country, those people at the beginning of this great nation, these people didn't take shit.
No.
They would take arms at the drop of a dime.
Mm-hmm.
These people, they would go beyond protest. And
I mean, we had a civil war, for Christ's sake.
And if you think about the atrocities that our democracy, our government over these 200 years, we've done some fucked up shit. What happened in January 6th is pales in comparison to what they did to the Indians, what they did to the blacks. I mean, come on.
I mean, that was in the past, but if you think about just recent history, what we did to the Afghan and Iraqi people, apparently 1 million innocent civilians died at the hands of our military generals.
But even better, when this whole thing with George Floyd, they burned cities down.
Oh yeah. And you know what was interesting about that? There was at every one of those protests, they had like set up like little bricks, like stacks of bricks throughout the city.
Perfectly for launching.
Exactly. So it says that right here, our war has killed about 150,000 Afghan civilians and combatants through combat alone, factoring in deaths from disease, hunger, destruction of health, and other infrastructure. The death was likely at 600 million, and millions have been injured and traumatized in Afghanistan alone. So, Matt,
I mean, I don't want to compare that to what they call the insurrection, because supposedly we were trying to stabilize that country. But what I am saying is to say that this was the darkest day in our history. We've done some pretty fucked up shit.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you say that that's the worst thing we've done, no. I mean, we've killed a lot of people, innocent people, for no reason.
How many people died in the insurrection, supposedly?
I mean, a few, but not millions. And the people that died, they died just for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. It wasn't like, we targeted, like, for example, before we pulled out of Afghanistan, we had a drone follow a man for hours before it detonated a missile on him. And this man turned out to be a worker who was just like a guy was giving aid to, like, he was doing one of these nonprofit things to help like people in his neighborhood. And what he was doing was picking up water jugs to help give water to his community. And they were thinking that he was like going around getting weapons, mass destruction, guns, what. And then they bombed him. They celebrated it when people asked, who was like, did you really get? Because apparently you bombed him because there was a whole
Well, we're reaching our last segment of the hour.
Yes, the last segment of the hour
and of the show. Again, folks, we would like for you to visit our website, thepyramidshop.com. There you can donate to our show, and pretty soon we're gonna have these items like coffee, our own vitamin brand, to help bolster up our studio so we can provide better quality podcasts for you guys, and we could provide more content, better content for your listening pleasure. So please hit the donate button.
There'll be things that we think our listeners already need. I mean, everybody
absolutely
needs supplements. Everybody needs to drink coffee. Everybody drinks coffee. We're just trying to help you guys out. And if there's anything you'd like to see us sell on thepyramidshop.com, we'll try to source it and sell it for you guys.
And please visit my TikTok page, hashtag the pyramid, TheParamid. I got some interesting videos
The Great
there
Reset, the War for the World, is all live in our
on aliens and paranormal stuff. It's kind of a fun page to visit. We're also on Instagram. What's our Instagram?
So our Instagram name is our legacy podcast name, which is paranormal.experience. The reason we kept it the same is because we've been growing steadily. We've been gaining 5 followers a week, consistently. We follow no one just so that to keep everything, copacetic, and we don't want to favor one person or another, one listener or another. But we've been growing steadily, and you can find us on Instagram at paranormal.experience.
Also, for you cigar aficionados, you can go to my page, Ernesto Morado, and on TikTok, and you could see, my videos on how to smoke a good stick. I'm a very avid cigar aficionado. Good way to relax. So yes, visit our several pages. The Pyramid,
cigar aficionado, and I'm the cannabis aficionado.
Yes. So visit our pages. They're fun. My page, as far as cigars go, I show you, how to smoke, to relax. I have different way to cut the cigars, and I review cigars on this. Maybe there's a cigar house wants to for me to sample their cigars. Hey, I even put it on this cast. Anything for sponsorship, so that we could bolster up our studio. So with that said, we're going into our last. We got about 20 minutes left. We want to get up to some more lighthearted things, to lighten up the mood. It's not all about conspiracies. So
No, for sure. I just wanted to. I had just one video that I wanted to wrap us up with, and this will be wrapping up some of the things that because we have so much stuff to discuss, and especially the downtime that we have in between casts, that a lot of the world is just going along, and it's hard to report on.
I mean, who would have thought beaver goo smells like vanilla?
From a beaver's ass. Oh my god.
So if you take a beaver and you smell Below his tail, it smells like vanilla.
Like the shleem.
Strange.
And the salami. You gotta spit on the shleem.
Strange but true.
Oh, yes. We got a couple of strange but true.
Strange but true. Beaver goo smells like vanilla. And it's edible. That's the fucking most amazing thing.
Not that it's edible, but that it's already in food product.
Yes. Beaver goo is in ice cream. Wrap that around your noggin. The next time you're taking a swig out of Breyer's ice cream.
Beaver goo.
Beaver goo.
Yeah. So this report is going on about the IRS and what they're up to, because they're up to
Oh
something.
no, that's a whole program within itself.
So I just want to touch on
Guys, prepare yourselves. Dot your I's and cross your T's, because the IRS are being armed.
Oh, yes. So check this out.
We Americans are divided by political party, religion, and social class to keep us from ever figuring out the real cancer in American culture, the cause of nearly every American war and the mother of today's corruption.
It's the Federal Reserve, okay? 0.5% of the citizens of this country own more assets than the bottom 90%. That's all happened over the last 10 years since 2008. Wow. The Federal Reserve, by the way, that's owned not by the American people, a central bank that's owned by 24 prime brokers, being JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. How does that work? We don't need to audit the Fed. We need to end the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve has usurped its power and the power of the American people and our elected representatives. And no, they do not have the consent of the governed. We will not comply. We will not submit, and it must be ended.
The Federal Reserve banking system introduced the most destructive form of usury the modern world has ever known, a debt-based currency designed to rob and enslave entire nations. The Federal Reserve prints money out of thin air, and this has given the crooks who wield it the power and influence to create their own corporate government within the United States. And the IRS has made every hard-working American into a criminal, guilty until proven innocent. The IRS was always seen as unconstitutional, but in 1913, the powers of the IRS were weaponized and made de facto law by the 16th Amendment, never properly ratified, which states that the government can collect a percentage of everyone's income. Over 50% of Americans refuse this unconstitutional amendment, but the IRS will come after you. They have a long reputation for targeting religious groups and political opponents, and it's only looking to get much worse. The Inflation Reduction Act guarantees more inflation, with the billions of dollars required to be printed out of thin air. And while local police are defunded so that violent criminals are set free, the IRS is being funded to hire over 80,000 new agents to make sure everyone is paying their taxes. And they have recently bought 5 million rounds of ammunition. They are building their own police force to execute search warrants, make arrests, and exert the use of deadly force. While many liberal progressives may argue that the crimes of the Federal Reserve are necessary, they are hurting people worldwide. Because it's the world's reserve currency, 40% of international transactions are in USD. And as the Fed continues pushing the illusion of a strong dollar, the rest of the world is made poor. If the Americans don't remedy the situation soon, then the international community has a reasonable excuse to get involved. The entire international fiat system is collapsing, and the crooks responsible will be selling us a new centralized digital currency, which is obviously another trap. But the alternative is simple. Restore the constitutional republic to promote the general welfare and secure the blessings of liberty with sound money backed by gold and silver. End the Fed, the IRS, the CIA, the FBI. It's written right there on your $100 reserve note. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute new government that will most benefit their safety and happiness.
What is the highest federal income tax any American should have to pay?
Well, we should have the lowest tax that we've ever had, and up until 1913, it was 0%. What's so bad about that? Now, I would like to follow up on that because I think the question on taxes is generally misleading. Because anytime you spend money, it's a tax. You might tax, you might borrow, you might inflate. The vicious tax is attacking the American people, the retired people today, is the inflation tax. The devaluation of the currency, the standard of living is going down, and you need to address that. And that's why I want to make the inflation tax zero as well.
So your answer is zero.
Zero.
Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.
So that was...
Well, this is why this is big push on this cashless society. That way the IRS can monitor everything coming in and everything coming out. Did you hear that Starbucks are going, they already made I don't know how many stores, they don't accept cash.
Really?
Google it.
Wow. Okay. 1 second here. So Starbucks is stopping accepting cash.
If you don't got a card, you cannot purchase. They're not gonna have registers.
Well, it was the first time I experienced that when I went to Six Flags. I went to Six Flags and literally I was trying to pay in cash. Like, no, throughout this whole place, there is no cash accepted. So I'm like, really? No cash? No cash whatsoever.
Which is forcing people to use their credit cards, get in debt. So the cashless society is coming. So now Starbucks is jumping into the game. I think from what I heard on the reports that they already have like 5 to 10 stores operating where they don't accept cash.
Well, I got a report here. Unfortunately, it's conflicting, but let me see here. It says here, fact check. God knows the fact checkers. Starbucks has not said it's going cashless from October 22nd. Claims circulating in the UK, the United States, and Canada in late August 2022 that all Starbucks coffee shops are going cashless are false. A Starbucks spokesperson said social media in the United States, Canada, and the UK have posted a photo showing a sign in the store saying that Starbucks will no longer be accepting cash. The sign we're going cash from October 1st, 2020.
Well, that's not accurate. You know, they didn't. The report I heard, they're not saying that all Starbucks are going cashless. They said they're gonna try an experiment on certain stores going cashless to see how that works out.
It says it is possible this applies only to the store in the photograph and not the claim as a whole. The location of the store was not provided in the photo, and Reuters, which this report is from, was not able to independently verify this photo or policy with a specific store. In the UK, we operate alongside various licensee business partners, which means this may vary from store to store. The Starbucks spokesperson said the majority of stores continue to offer cash payments to customers.
But this says here the verdict, missing concept. Photo of a sign at Starbucks coffee shop saying that no longer accepts cash payments does not reflect coffee house plans in the United States, Canada, or UK. That's what they claim.
I never heard about that particular sign. I just heard the news flash saying that they're gonna start certain stores around the world are gonna be cashless.
What they're claiming is that this went viral. Excuse me. It says that this went viral, and people picked it up, and they started speculating, and from that speculation, that's where the story that you heard came from. But they're saying it's not based in reality, according to the voice. I don't know.
I just think that they're going maybe by what they heard, on social media, but they never said all stores are going cashless. They said they were trying out a new program where maybe as 5 to 10 stores nation and worldwide are going to be tested to go cashless, and these stores are not going to have registers. So
with that being said, and let's move on to the lighthearted segment.
Yes, I mean, after hearing that they're arming the IRS, last thing you need is some armed IRS officer knocking at your door thinking that your house is Mar-a-Lago, for Christ's sake.
So I had found this little funny picture here to really show the stark contrast between the Calvin Klein ads of 1992 and the Calvin Klein ads of 2022. So check this out. Can you describe that?
Oh my God. I can tell. Can I guess which one is on? Oh, it already says it right on it. You could have erased the caption, and I would have said the black and white is 1992, and the 2022 is the color one.
But explain to the listeners what you're seeing here.
I'm seeing Mark Wahlberg being buff with, I don't know who that model is, but she's obviously very attractive, and they're in an embrace, almost looking like they're at the beach. That's the 1992 version of the commercial, but the 2022 has a guy that looks like,
is that a bra he's wearing?
Yeah, the guy who, what's his name? What is it? It's something music.
I don't think that's him.
No, but he definitely looks like him. What's his name?
DJ Khaled.
DJ Khaled. Some guy looking like DJ Khaled with a bra tattooed out and pink shorts, boxer or panties. They could be panties. And a very large boned woman in an appropriate brown undergarment.
Appropriate.
Hey, us large bone people tend to have
miss a few spots.
Yeah. And she's also tattooed out.
Oh man. Welcome to the future.
No, it reminds me of the Russian beauty pageant. Next up.
Yeah. The Wendy's
Yeah,
ad.
why don't you show that ad? That's kind of lighthearted.
To give people a glimpse.
Look what propaganda can do. When I was a kid, I was under the impression that Russian women were hideous because of this Wendy's propaganda video.
And as we said, Wendy's right now is going through a little bit of trouble with, food poisoning. But check this out. It's not food poisoning, it's mind poisoning is what they're...
Absolutely. This is propaganda during the height of the Cold War. Right before the wall came down.
Yeah.
This is what I was looking at as a kid. I was like, man, thank God I'm not in Russia. Look at these models.
All right, it's loading up here.
Then as I became an adult,
Pay attention, please. Thank you. It's next day there. Kelly nights. It's next evening there. Very nice.
Having no choice is no fun. That's why at Wendy's, every hamburger isn't dressed the same. You'll get your choice of fresh toppings, fresh tomatoes, fresh lettuce, fresh onions, cheese, bacon, and more. Having a choice is better than none.
It's next swim
Bed. And if you look, all the women in the commercial.
Okay, Eunice, travel plans. I need to be in New York on Monday and Tuesday, New York on Wednesday, LA and Thursday, New York on Friday. Got it? Got it.
So yeah, I mean, times have changed.
And let me see if I have some more lighthearted stuff here. Oh. So I got something interesting here for our strange but true segment. A man who has suffered 100 orgasms a day. He's suffering. One second.
Oh, hi.
Father of two, Dale Decker, suffers from a rare and seemingly incurable condition that leads to him suffering up to 100 unwanted orgasms a day.
There's nothing pleasurable about it because even though it might physically feel good, the whole time inside your mind, you're completely disgusted by what's going on. Kids around strangers. I mean, it can make a person break real fast.
The 37-year-old is the first man to ever speak publicly about the condition known as Persistent Sexual Arousal Syndrome, or PSAS, and he says it's ruining his life.
So does he soil himself?
At his casket, and you're saying goodbye to him, and then you have 9 orgasms right there, while your whole family is standing behind you. Just makes you never want to have another.
First man to ever speak publicly about the condition.
Oh
known as
my
Persistent
God.
Or PSAS, and he says it's ruining his life.
When you're on your knees at your father's funeral, at his casket.
On your knees at your father's funeral. At the casket.
That is horrible.
And then you have 9 orgasms right there, while your whole family is standing behind you. Just makes you never want to have another orgasm as long as you live. But you know what? You just keep on coming.
Oh my Lord.
Whale,
Can you
who was
imagine
sponsored
that?
in America, was enjoying his suburban life in 2012 when he slipped a disc in his back while getting out of a chair, triggering the condition for unknown reasons.
They put me in the back of the ambulance to take me to the hospital. And on the way there, I had my first 5 orgasms, and they've never stopped.
Dale has been unable to work since the accident and is mostly housebound through fear of experiencing an episode in public, but he enjoys playing frisbee golf with his closest friends.
Oh, God. Oh. They happen at all times in any situation. They happen when I'm awake. They happen when I...
We need a cat. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm coming in the gym. I'm coming when I pump up when I'm on stage.
Can you imagine? I'm coming all the time. Well, here's your competition right here. That is horrible.
100 orgasms a day.
Imagine being in a business meeting. The percentages of our business has gone up. Oh Lord. Oh God. Ow, 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 ow. Mr. Magoo, you've done it again.
You like have to explain why you just spoiled yourself.
Oh my Lord. You're gonna have people trying to slip their discs now.
Let's see, what else do we have in this bucket of random stuff here? Let's see here. Oh, this is interesting. The world's largest cave.
Went into Songdung, which is the world's largest cave. That was only discovered in 1995. It's this massive opening, 6 miles of underground cave. You know, you don't see daylight for 2 days.
6 miles.
You should look at the pictures of this place. You'll love it. I mean, it's just this, it looks like something out of Avatar. I mean, this cave, you can fit New York City skyscrapers inside of it. It's so big.
Oh
it has
my
its own
God.
What? Yeah, it's
Where is this?
So it's in the Annamite mountain range between Vietnam and Laos. And
let's see this. Oh my God.
Yeah, there's Hang Song Dung. That's the entrance to it, and look at the size of it. The scope of it is massive.
Something to compare it to. What am I looking at? I'm seeing the.
Yeah, those are little tents. People.
Oh, those are tents.
There's full lake systems in there. And,
oh my God, that's inside the tent? I mean, that's inside the cave?
Yeah, look at the wedding cake. That one right there. That's called the wedding cake. That one. It's these pyres. I mean, it's the most fantastic looking. Went into Songdung, which is the world's largest cave.
Wow,
that was only discovered in 1995.
We got a bunch of them. And if you want to submit stuff to our lighthearted segment of our podcast, always do so by going to the Pyramid Podcast. I'm sorry, pyramidshop.com. And from there, you can go to contact us and send us any kind of crazy video you like. Think of it like America's Funniest Videos where you send whatever you want.
Absolutely. Do you have a blow up of the logo so that people can see how to spell the?
Well, I can do one better. I can go to thepyramidshop.com.
Yes, there we go.
Right now.
Guys, we have reached the 3rd hour and our final hour.
Pyramidshop.com. This is what it looks like. Right now, you're going to see all of our broadcasts. When we go live, right here on our website, here, but you can also donate to the cast using this donate button. Subscribe to us by clicking the button right here. And it'll take you right over to our Substack. You can, easily subscribe and watch the episodes. Right now on Substack, we're up to episode 8. We're recording this in advance, and we're going to be coming out with more stuff soon. Now, with that being said, let's go back to PyramidShop.com.
Can you show the website and so that can you blow it up so they can see the actual?
Yes. So let me see. I can put this up here. See that? So it's thepyramid.com. The PARAMI.com. The PARAMI.com. The PARAMI.com. The PARAMI.com. The PARAMI.com.
Okay.
Demonic.
Got us into a loop there. So I think that we should finish our show with this poignant yeah.
Let's finish up our show with this poignant.
You should have that playing behind Denzel Washington giving that little speech about the devil.
Want me to look it up?
Yeah.
That sound means it's time for us to finish the path. We're going to end it off.
Yeah, I just want to say let's keep our heads up. I know there's a lot of bad news and a lot of impending doom on the social media and all over the social networks and on TV, but let's try to, keep our heads up, evoke good energy, and let's just live life and enjoy life. Life goes by fast. Enjoy every minute. Have fun as much as you can. And I'm always of the faction that if your job is something that you like, if you're doing what you really love, then you don't work a minute in your life. So, try to find yourself in a better space and let's not feed into all this doom. We just want to know and be aware so it won't catch us by surprise.
Absolutely. And if you're aware of things, you can better prepare. That's the point. So it's not about, getting all captured by the fear, because that's exactly what they want. They want you to be fearful. Instead, what we're trying to show you is there's nothing really to be afraid of. Truth is not something that we should be afraid of, but what we should be seeking and looking for. With that being said, that's all Washington.
No, the saying, when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait, I'm not done now. The devil goes, oh no, leave him alone, man. He's my favorite. right. Yeah. Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because he's trying to do something right. And for whatever reason, the devil got a hold.
Self-confidence is really someone who keeps promises to themselves, because self-confidence is really like your reputation with yourself. If you've got a great reputation with yourself, you can trust you. You're not so concerned about your reputation with.
And when the devil ignores you, then you know you're doing something wrong. Wait, I'm not done now. The devil goes, oh no, leave him alone, man. He's my favorite. right. Yeah. Conversely, when the devil comes at you, maybe it's because he's trying to do something right.
There you go. When the devil comes at you, is because you're doing something right.
Confidence is really someone who keeps promises to themselves, because
What's your web address? Your email?
1 second. I'll let you know once we get off the cast.
I wanted to send you a little picture so that we could end with this.
Oh, okay.
Just kill your mic.
It's
Yeah, I mean, if you want to contact us via email,
very
very
simple.
simple.
Just
Reach us out at Paranormal Experience Podcast at gmail.com. Remember, we're OGs of the paranormal experience.
Absolutely.
And we're the true paranormal. We're the original paranormal. No one can come and say that those are paranormal for us.
Paranormal Experience Podcast, right?
At gmail.com.
Confidence is really like your reputation with yourself. If you've got a great reputation with yourself, you
Go ahead.
I said, folks, thank you for joining. We'll be back next week. Like Batman, same time, same channel.
We'll get a little bit better with the live stream so we can have more people tune in live. We know that you guys want some consistency in the live so that you know when to show up, and that way you guys can be ready to show up. So for now, the consistency is we come out with a podcast on Monday, and
Since our
podcasts are recorded as well, and they get released on our Substack. So if you subscribe to that, you'll automatically get an email from us when the new episode has arrived. That being said, we'll go moving on to what is this trending? Desperados.
I will be sending it to you shortly.
So I think we had a pretty good cast today.
Absolutely.
We appreciate any value reciprocation with this podcast. So if you have anything to share, you want to send it to a cause that is, in your opinion, good, no need to look further other than right here in this podcast. We desperately need the help of our listeners to keep this podcast going. It's not easy, it's not cheap, and if you truly get anything out of this podcast, just show us $1. Just show us, how much you care.
Okay, I sent it to you. We'll leave our viewers with this, with Concord Dawn playing in the background.
All right. Let me cue up Concord. How'd you send it?
Through your email, the Paranormal Experience Podcast.
Yeah. Another way to do it is you can upload it to Trello.
I don't have my Trello up. I could have misspelled it because I am notorious for doing that. Let me send it again. Now it's saying error. The Paranormal Experience Podcast. Oh, I see what I did.
It's just Paranormal Experience Podcast.
I see. Sorry, folks. We're just trying to again, we're continuously trying to tweak our show. Okay, we should have gotten it now. Guys, thank you for tuning in. We ran a little long today, but again, we love doing this. We would appreciate if you want any content discussed on this program, just send it to us at the Paranormal Experience Podcast at gmail.com.
Paranormal Experience Podcast, but the best way, the easiest way to contact us is simply the Paranormal Shop.
And remember, folks, just like Juan Delito said, if the universe is infinite, there you go. Peace.